Hi everyone. Today I want to talk to you about one of my life philosophies, and that is namely self-awareness as one of the best tools that we have for us in our lives. I want to share with you my perspective with respect to why self-awareness is important and how it can help us in various different areas of our lives. So all about that in the next few minutes. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's dive in. So I see self-awareness as one of the most important skills that we can develop or train in our lives. And it's a slightly different skill if we are to compare it with, communication skills or time management skills or some very practical skill, because it's something that is a bit more difficult to define or conceptualize. It's a bit more abstract. However, I always go back to what one of my mentors told me quite a few years ago when I was training in psychodrama psychotherapy. And she said, once you start your journey of self-awareness, you can never stop. And I've been keeping this idea in mind because I noticed that, sometimes people have this tendency to believe that self-awareness is a box. You check this box, it's done. But it's not done. It's never done, because you as a human being, first of all, are very complex, meaning there's always something there that you haven't yet discovered about yourself or understood about yourself. And secondly, we change in life, okay? We grow up, we mature, we have new experiences, we have new relationships. The way we see things changes as well, meaning that at different points in our lives, there will be different things to learn about ourselves, also because of the changes that we go through. And the reason why I think self-awareness is absolutely essential in all of our life stages, especially as adults, is because it helps us take responsibility for our lives. Rather than blaming other people, rather than simply attributing bad things to the environment, we also learn what is under our control in that situation. It helps us also see how the way we act, the way we think, the way we make decisions, the choices we make as well, how these also shape how our life looks like or how a specific situation looks like. And I'm not saying this as a way to say, oh, it's always your fault for what happens in your life. No. Of course, the environment plays a role as well. Other people play a role as well. And sometimes you are being treated unfairly by others, and it's not your fault for that. So definitely I'm not denying that at all. I just want to say that there are a lot of situations where if we introspect, if we use self-awareness, we are able to say, okay, I had a conflict with my partner, for example. The reason why I had this conflict is because from my part, I didn't communicate what I actually needed in time. Or because on my part, I have a need that is not fulfilled and I'm frustrated because of it, and then I'm lashing out at my partner. Sure, my partner also has a role to play in this conflict because of their communication style, or maybe they don't listen actively enough or whatnot. And there's an interplay, but if we only focus on what other people bring to the conflict, we can't really deal with the problem and improve the situation. However, if we use self-awareness and acknowledge what our needs are, what our communication style are, what our impact in that conflict is, we are more likely to take responsibility for our actions and improve the situation proactively. Also, in a work context, let's say that we are in a job that we hate, we don't find ourselves there, we feel suffocated by it and uninspired by it. If we simply blame the circumstances, my boss is horrible, I don't like my colleagues, I have really annoying tasks that I need to do, or I have too much that I need to do and it burns me out. Sure, these might all be true, but if you just focus on that, it's very difficult to actually change something or improve something. However, when you use self-awareness as a tool to access your own inner world, you are now able to say, okay, well, first of all, what is under my control in this situation? How can I communicate better with my manager so that we have less conflict? How can I communicate better with my colleagues so that we work better as a team and hence I don't feel as overwhelmed? Or perhaps you might say, well, I could develop my own time management skills and planning skills, and as a consequence, I won't feel as overwhelmed. Or you might say, well, I understand through my own journey of self-awareness that this is not the type of job that suits me. Therefore, I should plan to create a career change and go into a different field or a different type of company, which might suit me better. This is something I did myself, okay? So when I was working in a more corporate setting in human resources, even though there were parts of the job that I loved, there was also an overarching theme of, this is not me, this is not who I am. And with self-awareness, using typology, but also other instruments like psychodrama, like my own personal vision for my future, I realized that there was a lot of incongruence there, and hence I wanted to have a different kind of environment. And that's why I worked hard and I fought hard to create my own freelancing business where I'm much more aligned with who I really am and what I really believe in. Okay, so self-awareness is a really powerful tool because it gives you the actual strength to do the things that you want, to make changes in your life and not feel completely overwhelmed by the external circumstances. And in terms of the most important tools that I think can help us with self-awareness, of course, one of them is personality typology. Both MBTI and Enneagram can be highly insightful to understand how our mind works, what biases we tend to have, or maybe what insecurities and fears we tend to have and how those are holding us back. And again, it's not just that, oh, you understand your type, you check a box and you never need to think about it again. Especially when it comes to Enneagram, you might see that you keep working on it. And sometimes you have periods where things are going very well for you, but then you have other periods where you're falling back into your old patterns or traps, or you're heavily stressed, heavily overwhelmed, and your core fear shows up again. It's okay. You don't need to be perfect, but by acknowledging what your Enneagram is and how that plays out and shows up in your life, you are more likely to say, okay, I recognize this pattern, I know what it is, and I have the tools to get back on track, to deal with the things that are challenging for me. So it's a dynamic process. We don't have to think about it in a very rigid way because life is not easy and situations will continue to challenge us. But the more responsibility we take for ourselves, the more likely we are to actually create those kinds of changes. Other tools that I found particularly helpful is coaching as a method. So coaching is not about giving advice. It's not consulting. It's also not psychotherapy where maybe you guide someone in a certain direction. Coaching is very much about asking insightful questions that can help the other individual understand better how they think, what they feel, what beliefs they have, what is holding them back in a situation, and what inner resources they actually have. And I once saw this video, and pardon me because I don't remember the name of the person who created it. I remember she was also a professional coach, and she said, I put my hand onto my client's shoulder, metaphorically, and it's almost as if we close our eyes and my client is guiding me through their inner world. And with curiosity, I ask them, what is here? What is there? Can you tell me more about that? Can we explore this further? And with this level of curiosity and openness, one can dig much deeper into themselves and understand better who they are and what their inner world is made up for. Of course, psychotherapy is also extremely helpful. So if you are looking to improve your mental health, if you are looking to also understand your trauma and your background, then psychotherapy or working with a psychotherapist is extremely important. So I highly recommend that you find a professional who can help you with that. Then your personal vision and your personal values are both extremely important. The vision is what I imagine to be this destination, long-term destination, the ideal one that you want to get to in your life. And your personal values are the tools that help you get there. We know from cognitive behavioral psychology, therapy as well, that if you have two or are aware of your first 2-3 core values and live your life in accordance with these values, you are much more likely to achieve in your life a higher level of fulfillment and happiness. So let's say that your core values are growth, connection, and love. The more actions you take in your day-to-day life, which are aligned with growth, connection, and love, the more likely you are to be happy. But of course, first you need to be aware of these values so you can also align your life with them. So yes, MBTI, Enneagram, coaching versus psychotherapy, as well as vision and values are all really, really powerful tools that you can use to enhance your level of self-awareness. So anyway, these are my thoughts on why self-awareness is such an important tool. And by the way, I offer self-awareness coaching sessions. So for people who are interested in further connecting and exploring this topic, I'm here. You can find the link in the description below. As always, thank you very much for being with me. Thank you very much for watching this video, and see you next time with another video on typology.